When it comes to Los Angeles history, few figures cast a shadow as long as William H. Parker, the LAPD chief who served from 1950 until his death in 1966. To much of the public, Parker was the face of reform, a polished, professional leader who promised to rid the department of corruption and turn it into a modern police force. To his admirers, he was the man who gave the LAPD its reputation as one of the most disciplined law enforcement agencies in the country. But behind that reputation was a more complicated story. To many communities in Los Angeles, Parker's police department was a source of fear, harassment, and abuse. He was beloved by much of the public, but feared by those who felt the heavy hand of his department. William Parker took over the LAPD at a time when the force was widely seen as corrupt. In the 1930s and 1940s, officers were often linked to organized crime, gambling rings, and payoffs. The department lacked professionalism, and Los Angeles politics were infamous for backroom deals. Parker, who had served in World War II and worked in the LAPD's administration, promised to change that. When he became chief in 1950, he ushered in reforms designed to clean up the force, instill discipline, and modernize training. Under Parker, the LAPD became a model of efficiency in the eyes of many outside observers. He emphasized professionalism, strict conduct rules, and a culture of loyalty. The department earned national attention for its clean image, especially compared to its past reputation. Parker frequently appeared in the media, presenting himself as a strong but fair leader. He was even a key figure in shaping the TV series Dragnet, which portrayed the LAPD as a tough, no-nonsense, and trustworthy institution. To many Angelenos, Parker was a hero who had brought integrity back to policing. But the view from the ground, especially in Los Angeles's Black and Latino communities, was very different. Parker's LAPD became known for its aggressive tactics, heavy policing of minority neighborhoods, and tolerance of racist behavior within the force. He centralized power, giving the chief extraordinary control over the department and insulated officers from political oversight. While this allowed him to root out political corruption, it also made the LAPD less accountable to the public. One of the most damaging aspects of Parker's tenure was his approach to race relations. As Los Angeles's population grew more diverse in the post-war years, with Black families moving into South Los Angeles and Latino communities expanding in East LA, Parker's LAPD responded with force rather than partnership. Officers routinely harassed residents, conducted sweeps, and used heavy-handed tactics that deepened mistrust. Parker himself was often criticized for racially insensitive remarks. He once compared Black migration from the South to monkeys coming down from the trees. Statements like these reflected not just his personal views, but the culture he fostered within the department. For many in minority neighborhoods, the LAPD under Parker was not a source of safety but an occupying force. The tension reached a breaking point in August 1965, when a routine traffic stop in Watts escalated into a confrontation that spiraled into 6 days of unrest. The Watts uprising left 34 people dead, more than 1,000 injured, and parts of the city in flames. The anger was not just about one incident. It was the result of years of resentment toward Parker's LAPD. Many residents saw the department as abusive and unaccountable, and the rebellion was their way of fighting back. In the aftermath, Parker blamed outside agitators and downplayed the role of police misconduct in sparking the unrest. But historians have since pointed to the LAPD's heavy-handed policing as a major cause. The Watts uprising exposed the deep divide between Parker's public image as a reformer and the reality experienced by many Angelenos on the ground. Despite these controversies, Parker remained popular among large segments of the white middle-class public. To them, he was the man who kept order in a rapidly changing city. His tough stance on crime, his sharp media presence, and his reputation for discipline appealed to those who feared social change and rising crime rates. He was regularly reappointed as chief and became a national figure, advising other police departments and appearing on television. When Parker died of a heart attack in 1966, he was honored with a massive funeral attended by dignitaries from across the country. The Los Angeles Police Department headquarters, completed in 1973, was named Parker Center in his honor. For decades, his name was synonymous with the modernization of the LAPD, but over time, as perspectives on race, policing, and accountability evolved, Parker's legacy has been reassessed. To many historians and community activists, he represents the LAPD's troubled relationship with Los Angeles' communities of color. The culture of militarization, the lack of oversight, and the emphasis on aggressive policing all grew stronger under his leadership. Those legacies would continue to shape Los Angeles for decades, contributing to later crises like the 1992 uprising following the Rodney King beating. Today, Parker's legacy is deeply contested. Some still credit him with professionalizing the LAPD, transforming it from a corrupt and politically compromised force into a disciplined organization. Others see him as the architect of systemic problems that continue to haunt the department. In 2019, Parker Center was demolished, a symbolic end to one chapter of LAPD history, but debates about his influence remain. The story of William Parker is a reminder of how complex leaders can be. He was beloved in public, celebrated as a reformer, and even became a pop culture figure through Dragnet. Yet in private and in the lived experiences of many Angelenos, his LAPD was feared, resented, and deeply mistrusted. His dual image, admired by some, hated by others, captures the contradictions of Los Angeles itself during the mid-20th century. Parker's era also raises broader questions about policing in America. How do you balance reform with accountability? How do you ensure that professionalization doesn't become militarization? And how do you reconcile the public image of policing with the experiences of those most directly affected by it? These questions are not just about the past. They continue to shape debates about law enforcement today. William Parker's time as LAPD chief remains one of the most pivotal chapters in Los Angeles history. He built a reputation as a hero while leaving behind a legacy of fear in communities that bore the brunt of his policies. He was a man who symbolized both the best and the worst of policing, and his story is inseparable from the story of Los Angeles itself.